Good afternoon, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Foster City, known as far away as Uganda, Kenya, and Egypt, as the club that I am here today on behalf of President Curtis, who is returning with his parents' car from Texas, and right now is at the Albuquerque Balloon Festival. So think of him there as we conduct our meeting. Let me ask our pledge to be led by Phyllis Harrison. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Mike Hoffman has our thought for the day.
Didn't want to walk in front of the screen. Thought for the day. Kindness in words creates confidence. Kindness in thinking creates profoundness. Kindness in giving creates love. The second one, this is for those of us who are of age. When I was young, I used to admire intelligent people. As I grow old, or as I grow older, I admire kind people. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Mike. Great. Let's see, I know we have at least one visiting Rotarian. Mateo, would you stand and introduce yourself?
What?
Thank you, Mateo. Are there any other visiting Rotarians? Yes, May Matos.
Hi, May Matos. I'm president of San Rotary.
Welcome back, May. For those of you that don't know, May was a member of our club for many, many, many years. So we're glad to see you today. Any other visiting Rotarians? How about guests of the club? I know we have a speaker that we'll introduce in a little bit. Do we have any other guests? I don't see any. Okay, great. We do have some birthdays to celebrate. We want to recognize Ira Fruitman, whose birthday was October 3rd, and Phyllis Harrison, whose birthday was October 4th. Happy birthday, Phyllis. Bob Kaplan's birthday is tomorrow, October 7th. Jamie Cavanaro's birthday is October 8th. I don't think either of them are here. And Jamie's wife Susie's birthday was yesterday, October 5th, so very convenient. I know, back-to-back birthdays. And Bob Miller's wife Bonnie's birthday was October 4th. So we have a lot of birthdays this week. And we're celebrating one anniversary, which is Larry Lowenthal's marriage to Carolyn, to CJ, which is October 8th, Friday. They will be married 26 years. So congratulations to Larry and CJ. Yeah, that's a long time. We have two Rotary anniversaries to recognize. One is Jack Pirotowski's. He's been a member already 5 years. I remember.
Wow.
So 5 years Jack's been a member. And Stephanie Maston has been a member 16 years. So congratulations, Stephanie. That's great. That's great. Let's see if we have a sunshine report. I don't think so today. No news is good news. All right, great, Stephanie. We're glad to hear that. How about good news? Do we have any good news from anybody? All right, Jeff Brown.
The over 70s tennis team had its fourth match against South San Jose, and the I played number 2, and first on the number 1 court, won the first set, lost the second set, and then lost the tiebreaker 15-13. We didn't win a single point of our second set. So we had a lot of ties, and we won 6 more, and then they tired out. We won 6 more.
Is this Patricia?
Hey, Patricia, Mary B.
Yes.
About 20 seconds of your time. I need to record you.
Congratulations. Great. Other good news. Okay, back to your Mary Lou.
Yes, and for what?
It's just, I'm doing little snippets from each of our board members saying,
It's the employee of the month.
up to us, and he said, what a wonderful group of people you guys are. It was so much fun. I really loved it. And then one of the guys goes, are you the person that recommended him? And, you know, I mean, it was a big deal to him. So you guys, when you're looking at who's servicing you, think about recommending him for employees so much, because it really meant a lot to them.
Thank you, Mary Lou. That sounds great. I thought maybe you were going to remind the club of the Bochismo's successful win. Yes, last week I heard. I'm sorry I missed it. And so we're hoping to continue our successful winning streak. We will see how the Samanabachis do this week. So, right. Any other good news? I can't see everybody, but it looks like we're good on the good news. Okay. Announcements. President Curtis asked me to ask for more minute takers. Minute taking is actually not such a tough job. It just requires you to take minutes during the meeting, and then actually you send them to me and I edit them. So I kind of flesh them out. So it's not that hard to do, to take the minutes. And we're encouraging people to think about, it's an easy way to do service for our club. You're already here or you're Zooming and you can take minutes. So would you let Curtis know if you're interested? And we will go from there. Or I guess that's right. Okay. Let's see. Patricia Player Maxwell, I think, is with us via Zoom. And Patricia, you wanted to ask about some tickets that you.
Yes, I apologize. I'm getting older and more brain dead, but I sold a ticket last week. And for the life of me, I can't remember to whom, but I've got the money. So I'd like to make out the ticket for that. Can you please let me know who it was?
Looks like it was Mary Lou. She's waving her hand.
No, Mary Lou, I've got accounted for. And Steve Rose also. There is another person. I've got more money than I should have.
Okay, somebody might be entitled to a free ticket if you just tell Patricia that you.
Right. And I just want to say, Mike, I didn't get a chance to say good news, so I'm just going to quickly say it. I've very unfortunately landed up in the hospital last Wednesday. And I have to thank Phyllis and Jeff Brown for their extreme kindness. I got admitted, but they chucked me out the next morning. They couldn't stand having me any longer, but I'm pretty good since then. Thank you very much.
Well, we're glad to hear you're on the mend, Patricia. Thank goodness. And thank you to Jeff and Phyllis Brown for your help. Okay, Steve Okamoto is going to talk with us a little bit about the Rotary Club of Inagi City.
Thank you for substituting for Curtis. I guess as a former school teacher, you used to substituting.
I did.
Yes,
And
you
past
did.
president.
Right. Just to give you a little bit of background, recently we entered into a sister city relationship with a club, with a city in Japan, Inagi City in the Tokyo prefecture. And part of that sister city relationship was also having some sort of relationship with the Rotary Club in Inagi City. So we just recently signed I guess you can call it informal pact with the club in Inagi City. It's called a Twin Club Certificate of Recognition. So we have Curtis' signature and the signature of the president of the Inagi City Rotary Club. So now we have a formal relationship, and now if you ever want to go visit Japan, you have a club that will welcome you with open arms. Glad to report that.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for your leadership on that, Steve, because that's been a long time coming and it's moving right along, so that's great. Okay, Stephanie needs to make a request on behalf of Samaritan House, so come on up. Good afternoon, everyone.
So I just want a hand to see who would like to volunteer for the Samaritan House food distribution on Monday, we've got to go. Yeah, Monday, November 1st. Anyone? Anyone? Hands? November 1st? Did somebody raise their hand? Why are you laughing? Oh, Steve, do you want to do it? Okay, Steve, thank you. Okay, how about Monday, December 6th?
I could do that.
Oh, good. Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Oh,
Who else?
got Rich Peter.
Oh, Rich, you want to do it?
December 6th.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, good. All right. Why are you guys all laughing is what I want to know. Yes.
So the last time I went, they said there was some sort of paperwork or something.
No, there isn't. No,
They sent me home.
you don't have to do that.
I think it was your face.
It looks
It was your face. They weren't sure you were for real.
Stephanie Mark's.
Come on.
Online, he wants to know what the hours are.
Oh, 3 to 5:15. 3:15 to 5:15.
Maybe she'll do it. So then maybe I'll do it.
Sometimes they release you early if they're not too busy.
Well, thank you, everybody. That was great volunteering. So President Curtis had asked me to give you a brief update on my trip that I just returned from before he asked me to chair the meeting. So I'm still going to go ahead and do this to just give you a little brief overview of what we did. Because being a Rotarian means that we have lots of opportunities to do good work, both locally and internationally. This was an international opportunity. We traveled to Uganda, Kenya, and Egypt, where we had the opportunity to work in partnership with other Rotarians from California and the Rotary Club of Kampala, Nesambaya, Uganda. And just like we have the Rotary Clubs of San Francisco, Chinatown, San Francisco Fisherman's Wharf, there are lots of Rotary Clubs in Kampala, and this one was Nesambaya in Uganda. Oh. How's this? Is that okay? Okay. So at the beginning of September, 31 Rotarians and friends of Rotarians traveled with John Kaufman. You've heard him speak before, of H2 Open Doors and Global Water First, which is a new project that he's engaged with. And we went to Kampala, Uganda, which is in Eastern Africa. The Rotarians were from 9 different clubs, including the Rotary Club of San Francisco Chinatown, Menlo Park, Mission San Rafael, San Rafael Harbor, San Ramon Valley, which is not in our district, but San Ramon Valley, Santa Cruz, the Rotary Club of Global Action, and Foster City. And friends of Rotarians that traveled with us were from New York, Florida, Colorado, Tennessee, and California to join us in this good work. So when you go on these trips, it's mainly Rotarians and then those that we invite to join us. So the Rotary Club of Kampala, Nesambaya hosted us the second night we were there with a dinner, which included a welcome dance by Ugandan dancers and local foods, chicken, beef, and tilapia, sweet potatoes, and plantains. And the Rotary Club of San Francisco Chinatown and our club brought club flags to present to their club. And I also got a chance to bring our thank you certificate that we give to our speakers that has the picture of the Yurok Nation playground event on it. And it was signed by President Curtis. So that was very cool. And each of us received a Rotary Club of Kampala Nesambaya polo shirt. Not this one. This one we received at the end of our visit from that club. But we also received new friendships with Rotarians and an appreciation for the beauty of Uganda and its people, because the people are wonderful and it's a beautiful, beautiful country. So in partnership with the Rotary Club of Kampala Nesambaya, we completed the installation of a solar wind-powered water purification system. We distributed reader eyeglasses, you know, when you get to be about 45 and your eyes start to go. So reader eyeglasses to 650 very impoverished people who can't afford, don't have access to reader eyeglasses. And we distributed sanitary products to 300 girls between the ages of 10 and 20. That we'll talk about it another time. We toured the slums of Kampala, and we got to meet with Ugandan leaders, including Mike Karande, who's the national chairman of proprietors of private educational institutions in Uganda. We also met with Grace Kafuko Simakala, who's the principal of the Institute for Advanced Leadership in Uganda. So when the projects were finished, the Kampala Nasambaya Rotary hosted us again with a farewell thank you dinner where there was more dancing, lots of drinking, more Rotary shirts like this one. And I want you to see the Rotary emblem. Is that cool? Very, very Ugandan shirts, all very cool. And the men got shirts that kind of looked like Hawaiian shirts in the same material. The women got these. So it was very cool. And one of the H2 Open Doors traditions is that the first 5 gallons of clean water, clean drinking water, are auctioned off. It's a 5-gallon bottle, and they're auctioned off as a fundraiser for that Rotary Club. So a San Rafael Harbor Rotarian by the name of Helen Abbey, who some of you probably know, paid $350 for the honor of presenting that bottle of water to that Rotary Club. So it's a very nice gesture. Each time that I've had the opportunity to participate in a Rotary International humanitarian project, I've been reminded of the importance of clean water, because they don't have it, clean air, because they don't have it, paved roads, publicly funded TK to 12 education, stable governments, and equity for women and children. We are really lucky that we live in the United States. We just take those things for granted, but they sure don't take those things for granted there. Rotary International has 7 areas of focus for service above self, and this trip touched on all of them. And the 7 areas, just as a quick reminder: peace and conflict prevention, disease prevention and treatment, water sanitation and hygiene, maternal and child health, basic education and safety and literacy, economic and community development, and environmental protection. This trip, all of those. Well, after we completed our good work in Uganda, we traveled on to Kenya for game drives and witnessed the great migration of African animals. So cool. And then we went on to Egypt, where we visited the pyramids, sphinxes, catacombs, mosques, monasteries. It was really and truly the trip of a lifetime. So I'm putting together a presentation of photos for us to see at a future meeting. And I think you'll particularly enjoy the cheetah lion encounter, a very riveting series of photos, dueling to the end, which you will see. So in the meantime, I'm encouraging you to consider participating in a future international humanitarian project through Rotary. The Rotary Club of San Francisco Chinatown is applying for a global grant to fund a second water project for Kampala, for the slums in Kampala. And they will be working with H2 Open Doors and Global Water First. The dates of that trip aren't scheduled yet, but they will be in months to come. Our club just completed a global grant, I'm sure you remember, with the Rotary Club of Mumbai, Ghatkapar in India. And we funded e-learning centers for children in Mumbai. And I believe that President-elect Shiraz is hoping to organize a trip to go to Mumbai to meet those Rotarians and see our e-learning centers in operation. And that would be very cool. And also I want to thank our Director of International Service, Steve Okamoto, for his hard work. Again, we just heard about that. And our newest partnership with the Rotary Club of Tokyo and Nagi City. That provides yet another opportunity for international travel and to do good work. Global grants are funded through the donations we make to the Rotary Foundation. And when TRF Chair Mike Hoffman encourages us to donate to the Rotary Foundation's annual fund, your donations go toward funding future global grants as well as local district grants. Maybe travel to Africa or India or Japan might not be in your future, but you can still make a difference by donating to the Rotary Foundation, and you will be affecting many needy people internationally. Now, at this point, I was going to turn it over to Mike Hoffman until I learned that May Maddows's club also has some projects, global grants and some projects going on in Uganda and other countries. So I asked May if she would take a few minutes to come up and talk to us about what her club is doing.
Totally unprepared. So we also have global grants in East Uganda and we are working with the Totoro Club. We are currently funding 3 public schools with equipment and training. We have a safe house for women and children that have been abused or they've been trafficked. And we also have a traveling midwife project where in Uganda, where we are supplying the midwives with equipment and also solar lighting so that they can deliver babies not by firelight. And then we're also doing a solar cooker project in Uganda. And then in Ecuador, we've got a water project, a food project, and sustainable farming at the in the bamboo and the cacao plantations right near Guayaquil in Ecuador. And these, I'm really, really fortunate that my club is very, very active in foundation, and it's really important that we can continue to do all these projects through our donations in the foundation. And I know this club has always done a great job because in the 32 years I was here, we did some amazing projects thanks to a lot of the people that I see right now. So please, I'm handing it over to Mike, and please consider writing your check to the foundation. Thanks.
I'm known for my hats. Also for my asking for money. Some of you received an email last night from me, said, "May I thank you?" with a question mark. And it had to do, thank you, Gary. Some of you did not receive that email because you've already given to the Rotary Foundation through EREY. So I wanted to just say thank you for those who have given. And I even received 4 donations this morning, 2 in my mailbox, 1 I was on my way in, and 1 over the internet. So it's working. It's all good. I'm going to take this hat off for a minute. This is my engineer's hat. It's my railroad hat. I just want you to know that I'm not going to rail on you. I want you to get on board with the 33 of our members who've already given. That's 42% of our club who's already given to EREY. Now, we are on track to go 100% on this. But to get there, we need to have everybody donate at least $25. Now, if you donate $25, what's that going to do? It's going to give you a chance for a Visa gift card. Every $20 donation receives a ticket for a Visa gift card, and I will send those in to Carrie Chin with your name and address. We'll win that, hopefully. This is what the tickets look like. This is actually a batch of tickets that I haven't printed yet. But I will tell you that as you give, the grants that May and Cindy participated in, the projects, this is what the Rotary Foundation does. And so the money that we give to annual fund, EREY, comes back 50%, almost 50% comes back at the end of 3 years, back to our club to designate where we want to spend it. So I'd love to have you participate. I will enlist your aid. I'd like to have you get on board with me. And now if you make those donations, you can mail them to me. My address is in the club directory, or you can hand them to me in person here at the club. So thank you for giving. Thank you for all you do for Rotary, and Go Rotary Foundation.
Thank you, Mike, for your ongoing leadership. Mark, are you wanting to say something?
Yeah, you have a couple questions online about the trip.
Oh.
Bob Kaplan wanted to know if they're quarantined in Uganda, and Patricia wanted to know if you saw Chris there.
So I didn't see Chris Asterian. He is in Kampala, but I don't know which Rotary Club in Kampala, but I know he's our speaker next week, so I'll look forward to talking with him. And from a quarantine standpoint, the way it worked is you're looking at a person who has had 6 negative PCR tests since September 6th, because every time you go to a new country, you have to get tested and it has to be within a 72-hour period. It was interesting to know that both Uganda and Kenya are low risk for COVID. Egypt is high risk. And the reason that Uganda and Kenya are low risk, they gave us 4 different insights. One is that they're a very slender people, you know, because they're poverty, so they don't have a lot of food. The second is that they are, they have high, strong immune systems because they live in poverty and they just don't get the same health opportunities that we do. And so they just have a stronger immune system. The third one is they're not traveling. The slums, people who live in the slums, that's where they live. And as long as there's nobody else in the slums that have COVID, they don't go anywhere. We were the danger to them, you know, when we came. And then the fourth reason is that they also don't send their old people to seniors housing. You know, they keep their seniors at home. Yeah. And so their seniors are not clustered. They don't have clusters of people that might get the COVID and get sick. Very interesting. So anyway, Egypt so everybody wore masks. Everybody did hand, sanitation 6 feet apart. The poorest people that we gave eyeglasses to wore masks. Everybody wore masks. That was not true in Egypt. Egypt was high risk like the US. And so we wore our masks, but it was hit or miss in Egypt as to whether people were wearing masks or not. So that's a little bit of insight into that. Now, Mary Lou has a special presentation to make from her time as president, immediate past president. She wants to honor the good work of someone in our club. So Mary Lou.
Yeah. I just want you to know, for those of you who don't, that this is a totally awesome Joyce Cave, who did a fabulous, fabulous job on membership last year. And for that, we have won the Rotary International Citation for membership. I don't have any paper to show because the site crashed and I couldn't get it down and they haven't gotten the site fixed yet. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to Joyce and thank you all for helping to support her. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Lou. So let me ask Jeff Brown, do we have a video of the week today? We do. All right, come on up.
We had 2 choices and we decided not to play the safety video, which we'll play next week. And it's a pretty amazing video too. But today we're going to show an artist who has a really strange way of doing his art. And it's almost unbelievable how it comes out. So take a look at this guy and his artistic abilities.
As always, thank you, Jeff. That was great. We have a few minutes for social time, so let's take about 5 or 6 minutes, and then we'll be ready for our speaker. Okay, I'm going to ask us to start getting back to our tables. Oh, Ed says ring the bell. Okay, that's just a little alert. Okay, it turns out I thought I was doing so well on the agenda, and I completely missed the fact that Jeff Brown had two things to do for us today. One was to do the video of the week, but the other is to update us on our Rotary Rose Garden sign. So Jeff, would you come up and do that before we turn it over to our speaker?
Before I tell you about that, I wanted to just let you know that these guys I play tennis with, there's about 40 of us that email every Friday, and we try to pick a day, and somebody does them all. 3/4 don't live in Foster City. So they're all, but we have the good courts. So, I'm a volunteer for the village, and they're having their third gala. So I got permission to ask these players if they wanted to donate or buy raffle tickets to the Foster City Village. The very first guy who lives in Las Vegas, and he comes up to get out of the heat, wrote a check to the village for $1,500. I was like amazed. And as of this morning, I drove to the courts to pick up another donation. These guys who, again, 3/4 don't live in Foster City, don't know anything about it except by talking to me on the bench, have now donated over $2,500. I was just totally blown away. But we're moving forward on the, we've, at Elizabeth Taguchi's recommendations, we're going to make 4 signs and put them in front of the rose gardens. So we've decided to, I wrote up the write-ups, and my wife edited, Mike Hoffman rewrote them, and then we sent them to Craig, and Cindy was busy in Egypt, but we sent him to Craig Corton and Larry Kavanoki and Curtis to kind of review it because it's about roses. So the first sign is called the Rotary Rose Garden. It talks about roses themselves, the different kinds, all the same names and all that stuff. And then we have 4 pictures with named roses and ask the reader to try to find them in the rose garden. So this will make them try to identify and go look around. The second one is called Summer Care of Roses. And several people had mentioned there's not too much information about how to do it. So this is really shows what we do and how to take care of roses. So you could actually go up with a notebook, write down how to prune, how to weed, what suckers are, when they go dormant and all that stuff. That has the pictures of a floribunda, 2 really great floribundas, and the red roses in the show area are all French. They all have French names, but they're hybrid teas. So it identifies those. The third one is winter care, because from November to February, there's not any roses hardly in bloom, and they look like crud up till December when we move everything. So we have description of why we do it, why we take the leaves off, what has to be done in the winter, and a picture of the bare roses, and then another picture of Rotarians and Scouts doing the work. And the last one is called The Rose Lady of Nancy Gordon, and it documents how much work she's done, all the things she's done. And there's a really 2 pictures of that too. Is a really great picture of her sitting, I don't know if it's a wheelchair or a stroller, actually in the roses clipping. And another one very happy smiling because she used to drive around with the Rose Lady license plate. So we've sent him over to the guy, and he's got to do the work himself, and he has to apply for the city to do that. He's already done that. He has some good help from the city. So we're hoping to get a first reading of what the whole thing will look like. And Curtis also asked we put the Foster City logo on. So I think they're moving pretty well, and I'm hoping you'll be pleased when we get them back.
Very cool, Jeff. Thanks. All right, let me ask Pam Frisella to introduce our speaker for today.
Hello. Okay, I have something I was going to read, but first of all, I forgot my glasses. Stephanie's made me blind. And Armando just said, yeah, just don't bother. So what I will say, he's very humble. I will say about 5 years ago or so, I was on the committee that we were looking for a new executive director of HART. And I've been on HART for probably 16 or 17 years now. And so Don Horsley, and I forget who else was on this committee, but as soon as Armando walked in, we were sold. The rest of the people didn't have a chance. And all I can say is these last 5 years, he has taken HART so high. We're all so impressed, and the whole county look to Armando for everything you need to know about housing, funding, developers, and he's just a really, really good guy, and he likes IPAs too. This is Armando Sanchez. Yeah.
Well, thank you all very much for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to tell you a little bit about HART and the housing situation in San Mateo County. As Pam said, I've been with HART for 5 years, and it's a very enjoyable position for me. You never know when you take a job how long you're going to stay and how it's going to work out, but HART has a great board. Working with the cities has been a pleasure. And HART, as I will just tell you in a little bit, is an amazingly powerful organization that I'm hoping that we can utilize the powers that have been granted to this organization by the city. So with that, we'll have to do the next slide, please. And so what I'd like to do today is tell you a little bit about the housing market in San Mateo County, a little bit about the organization, and then talk about HART's work with programs. Next slide. So I don't know how well you can tell here, it's a pretty small screen, but what this is showing you is the rent increases in San Mateo County between the end of the last, when we came out of the Great Recession going into just before COVID hit. And as you can see, the rental prices in San Mateo, the cost of rentals has shot up dramatically. It's for a 1-bedroom, it's gone from about $1,300 to almost $3,100 during that span of that time. That is just an astronomical growth. And for a 2-bedroom, you're talking about $3,900 now. If you have a family, that means you're almost paying $4,000 to rent the median apartment in San Mateo County. Next slide, please. And I'm sure many of you have heard that there's been some rent decreases because of the pandemic, people moving out and things like that. Well, this is a graph from just before COVID hit to the present. And as you can see, there was a little bit tiny decline, and then, we're shooting back up. So you may hear things about rents dropping and becoming more affordable. It's just not the case. We're exactly where we were before, extreme unaffordability. Next slide. Let's just go and skip this one. Go on to the next one. Yeah. This graph here shows the number of units that are available for under $2,000. So if you're really low income, you can imagine your rent needs to be somewhere around $2,000 or less in order to have money for other needs. And as you look at this, the percentage of units in San Mateo County that are under $2,000 is a minuscule 3%. If you're looking for housing and you can only afford $2,000, you might as well forget it. The inventory is 3%. So it just shows you the dire situation we are in terms of our low-income workers in our county. Next slide. And if you want to talk about ownership, the picture is probably even more bleak. This is the chart for rental housing between 2012 and the present. As you can see, there's a little bit of a flat curve here this is for condos. The median price of a condominium in San Mateo County right now is approaching $1 million. Again, a slight drop during the COVID period, but it's, as you can see at the very end of the graph, it's starting to shoot up. The next slide. And here it is for single family homes. The situation is even worse. We're getting close to $2 million as the median price for a single family home in San Mateo County. So unless you own already, it's just extremely bleak to think that you are going to be able to buy a home and achieve family wealth the way as it has been traditionally done in our country. The next slide. As a result, you wind up with headlines. These are all recent headlines that I just picked out of the paper websites before coming here. Headlines like starting salaries for teachers don't pay the rent. A raise will help some, but not everybody. Essentially, it's a bleak, very, very bleak picture out there in terms of affordable housing for people. The next slide. So this is not the first time we've been in this situation. HEART's mission essentially is to create and preserve affordable housing by raising money from public and private sources. Essentially, if you think about what HEART is, we are a quasi-financial institution at our core. What we do is we raise money from a variety of sources, and then we invest it in affordable housing. The next slide. So the structure of HEART is kind of unique in the world. We are both a joint powers authority, which makes us a governmental agency, and a 501c3 nonprofit. I call it our dual citizenship, and that's really critical because as a joint powers authority, as I mentioned, we have tremendous powers. We have the power to tax, actually. We have the power to issue bonds, to buy and sell land without paying property taxes. There's a lot of things we can do as a governmental agency that are extremely powerful, including accessing state and federal grants that we're able to get because of our governmental status. As a nonprofit agency, it's also critical because it gives us access to foundations, individuals, and businesses who are not going to donate to government, but they do donate to nonprofit agencies. So having that ability to travel between the two different statuses that we have maximizes our ability to raise money to create affordable housing. Next one. One more down. So as I mentioned, our primary purpose is to provide loans to affordable housing developers. We do not construct housing ourselves. When a project is first conceived and somebody wants to build housing, it's a very risky proposition. There are so many things that can go wrong. The neighborhood can protest the housing and kill the project. You can find an environmental contamination that you didn't know was there. You can enter a recession where nobody's providing money and you can't finance the project. So nobody likes to lend money to early projects, and that is essentially our specialty. We do acquisitions, we do those pre-development loans to get the project started, and we do rehabilitation. So just essentially, we take the most risk of any of the lenders in an affordable housing project. We have not had any projects fail. We've definitely run into trouble with some projects where we work with our partners to rescue them, and eventually they get built, but we do sometimes have delays. But again, no failures with the riskiest lender in this set. So today, I'm sorry, stay where we were for a minute. We have funded 17 projects in San Mateo County, and that's produced about 1,500 units almost. The investment that we have put into those projects it's a little over $20 million in that. And let's see, can we go to the next slide here? So, I just want to highlight 3 of the projects we've done. This is the Kiku Crossing. It's in the city of San Mateo, and it's going to create 225 units. It's it's a unique situation here because it's on 2 city lots. One of them is a parking lot, and so they're going to build some public parking, not just parking for the project, but we're providing a $3.8 million construction loan and a permanent financing loan. And the source of that money is a grant we got from the city and a grant we got from the state of California. So, we did our job there, bringing in extra money from the state to finance this project and create 225 units. Next slide, please. It's a downtown San Mateo, and like 4th and 5th Street. I can't remember the cross street, but essentially 4th and 5th Street, right in the downtown. If any of you know where the Worker Community Center is, that's one of the, yes, that's where it's going to be. This is 353 Main Street. It's in the city of Redwood City. For this one, we did one of those risky pre-development loans of $3.5 million to get the project started. And if you scroll up a tiny little bit to the picture where you see the blue sky a little bit, anyway, that's a picture of the project under construction right now. So it's going up. They're about to repay our loan on this one because they've gotten the permanent financing in place. Let's go to the next slide. Another one that's currently in progress is the Odstead Boulevard Teacher Housing Project in the city of Pacifica. This is one I'm really proud of because it's moved hard into a new area. As many of you may know, it is extremely difficult to retain and attract teachers in San Mateo County because the salaries simply aren't high enough to afford housing here. And the only way districts, especially the ones that can't pay higher salaries, the only way they can compete is if they start providing housing for their teachers. So this project is going to create anywhere between 45 and 70 units. They haven't decided the size of it yet, but it's a really great project. We hope it's going to retain teachers. It should get its entitlement probably in about 6 to 9 months, and then start construction about a year from now. Another thing that's very unique about this project is the city of Colma has about $230,000 in its housing fund that they're simply not using, and they agreed to lend it to us to put into this project to help the city of Pacifica School District build their housing. Once they get their bonds and the permanent financing for it, they'll repay us and we'll return the funds to Colma. So that's some of the collaboration of why HEART was created. Yeah. They're going to range between one bedroom and 3 bedroom because a lot of teachers do have families. The size of the units, they're relatively small. I can't tell you exactly off the top, but they're probably a 1 bedroom is probably 700 square feet, decent size, and a 2 bedroom 900, and probably a 3 bedroom getting close to 1,200. So they're not giant size. But they are going, I've seen the designs, they're very nice. You know, the idea is that teachers have needs just like any of us. So they are going to be built with dishwashers and in-unit washer dryers. You know, they're not going to have to go down somewhere to get their laundry done. So they're going to be very nice units, and they're going to be affordable to the teachers of that district. So it's, I'm really hoping that once it's built, that other school districts will replicate it, because it doesn't require any general funds. It doesn't require any subsidies from the cities or the state or anybody. Yeah, simply put, all they need is some pre-development financing, like from HARD, and then they can issue bonds for the construction and the permanent financing, and then pay them off as the rents come in. You know, this is not charity for the district. The only thing that is going in really is the land that it's on, and it's on a former school site they're not using. Okay, next slide. Sure. You can't see this very well. You know, I was going back to the Kiku crossing. What it does is it shows you what we call the capital stack of how much it takes to do a project. Essentially, you know, you have about 5-6 lenders who provide financing for a project. You have Cal HFA, the City of San Mateo, the County of San Mateo, HARD, tax credit investors. It's a whole slew of people that have to come into the picture in order to make one of these feasible. To produce these 225 units, it's costing almost $170 million. And it takes all of us to put money into a project to make it feasible. That's about $750,000 per unit to construct. So that gives you an idea how expensive it is to do that. You know, right now we're in the process of creating our loan documents, which is a loan agreement, a promissory note, a deed of trust, subordination agreement, intercredit. You know, I can go on and on telling you. Just attorney fees between all the lenders is going to be $500,000 in attorney fees. So, you know, it's extremely expensive in every facet, from construction to the attorneys and people working on it. Next slide. So switching gears a little bit, we also have a first-time home buyer loan to help people who are middle income. It's an interesting situation. Let's go to the next slide. I'll show you real quick. We do approximately about 10 to 12 loans a year to help people buy a home. To date, we've done about 110, about $8 million in loans to help people. And this year we have not made a single loan, partially because of COVID, partially because you saw how expensive it is to buy a home. And we haven't made loans, and we had a staff meeting to discuss why we haven't done any loans. And one of the things we realized is that the maximum purchase price using our program is $900,000. Our lender is saying, our partner lender is saying we need to raise it to, you know, about 1.1 in order for people to start utilizing our product again. And we're sitting there as staff going, you know, we're supposed to be doing affordable housing for low-income people. Why are we helping people making $170,000 plus a year to buy $1 million home? It just makes no sense intuitively that this is not what an organization dedicated to lower-income housing it should be doing. But the reality is, if you look at people in that situation, you know, they may not be low income, but they're moderate income. And the only way many of these people, these are, you know, teachers who are married, you know, a new teacher is very low income. One that, you know, has been in the working for a while and has married, they become moderate income and they still cannot afford to stay here. So despite the craziness of the numbers, this is a target population for us. It is somebody we should be helping. So we'll probably be going to our board and saying, you know what, we need to raise our limits to $1 million plus. And it just, the insanity of working in housing here is sometimes mind blowing, but you know, that's what we do. And, you know, I guess another program I want to tell you about is, many people think the salvation of our housing situation is to build more in single family resident zone neighborhoods, whether it be another unit or what we call the granny units, ADUs, accessory dwelling units. I don't know how true that is. It's very difficult to ask your regular homeowner to construct a building. Going through the entitlement process, getting financing for it, managing the construction of even a small little building like this is not for the faint of heart. You really have to do a lot of work. So I don't know how successful it'll be, but thanks to a grant we got from the Bay Area Air Quality Management Board, they gave us a grant to produce some designs and construction drawings for 4 green accessory dwelling units. And the idea behind this endeavor was that if we create these designs that are full construction documents, we could save your typical homeowner between $10,000 and $20,000 because they don't have to hire an architect to design it. They can simply go to our website, pull down one of these units. We have 4 options, like a 400 square feet studio, 2 versions of a 1-bedroom that are about 700 square feet, and a 2-bedroom that's actually only 800 square feet. But you can download those. They're full construction documents. All you have to do is go to a planning building department, submit your application. All they need to do is look at your parcel map or site map, approve that, and then you're set to begin construction. So we're hopeful that this provides an avenue. If there's uptake, perhaps we can create a financing product. We're talking with a lot of different entities about that possibility, but it's really difficult because banks won't let you count rent that you may get from the unit as income to pay them back. So anyway, it's just really complicated, but do spread the word if anybody wants to build it. There are some free designs on our website. So, I think with that, I would have probably gone into more detail if the slide worked better, but and show you the pictures because actually quite interesting. These designs have different facades that you can change. You could have a modern or a craftsman or a mission style, and I forget what the 4th one is, but they have replaceable facades so that you could better match either your neighborhood or your primary home with one of these styles. So you don't have like a really nice modern house and then something that just doesn't match what you have. And I think I'd be happy to answer questions in closing. I would say, if you want to help our organization at all, I think the most important thing you can do is when HARD brings an initiative to a city is to let your city council know to support our project. Our board will next month be considering a very important new program for us that's going to involve acquiring existing buildings and converting into affordable housing, and use one of our powers as a governmental agency, which is to issue bonds to pay for it. So, as we move into that area, it creates the possibility of creating affordable housing without having to build it. So, we'll be exploring something like that in the next couple of months. And if our board approves it, we have the entities lined up. We have an investment bank ready to issue bonds for us, investors to buy them lined up. And all we have to do is, start doing it, hopefully. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Yes, sir.
You work with Habitat for Humanity.
Yes, we do actually. I don't know if you know, there's a building they're doing in Redwood City. It's an ownership project. It's their first condominium type version, a stacked condominium as opposed to their single family homes. We provided them with a $500,000 loan to acquire the site. In fact, I just got an email from them. We have to give them an extension because some of you may know the neighboring property protested the project and tied it up for about 2-3 years, increased the cost of construction on them. Just a terrible situation, but again, this is one of these projects where you work through it and you're able to bring it to fruition. So I'm sorry, I don't recall the name. It's on our website, but it's right in the heart of the downtown, and they just started construction on it, and it is going to be ownership. Yes, sir.
Are you involved in the projects in Foster City?
No, we don't have any in Foster City. Previous to my time, there wasn't any, right?
We've done a couple home buyers.
Yeah, a couple of home buyer loans, but No projects. Yeah, that's one of the problems, we have with so many small cities in San Mateo County, that it's really hard to go at it alone. As I showed you in the San Mateo Kiku project, the city of San Mateo is putting over $10 million into that project. Even if you were to go with a smaller project of say 80 units, the city would need to put in, a good $5 million into that project to make it feasible. Very few cities have that kind of money on hand. Oops, I think I turned off the mic. Oops, I definitely did. Oh, there it goes. So, yeah, so that's one of the issues. So, one of the possibilities will be this acquisition of existing buildings and converting it to affordable housing. So that may be a possibility to work with smaller cities in the future. Yes. It's going to vary. School districts cannot discriminate or choose between their teachers and their support staff, like janitors and bus drivers and such. So it's available to a wide range of people. So there will be some units that are going to have really low rents for like a 1-bedroom going for like $500-600 or so, all the way to a 1-bedroom for over $1,000-1,500 or something like that, depending on the income of the employee. So they will have a wide range. I'm hoping they go with the 75 units. I think the need will be there. The question is mathematics. It's when they issue the bond, how low can they drop the rents? And, the primary thing is going to be ensuring that they make the bond payments. And over time, as rents increase and your bond payments stay the same, you can start dropping rents. So a project like that may not look as attractive in the early years when the rents are barely supporting the bond payments. But if your bond payment stays flat and rents increase, then you can start providing much more affordability. Yes, sir.
If there aren't enough teachers and support staff that want to rent the 75 units, then where does the school do?
Yeah.
Can you just paraphrase the question?
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah. If there is not enough teachers and support staff interested in housing at that project, what's going to happen to in that situation? The answer is, fortunately, the state of California was wise enough to allow employees of other public agencies to move into those units. So if for some reason there were not enough or the rents were too high in order to make the bond payments, that they had to have some higher rents, they could rent to city employees, county employees, or anyone who works in the public sector could live there and rent it. And that's one of the reasons I'm hoping they go for the 75 units, because they do have options to rent to others. So, yeah.
Can you just tell them how long it has taken?
October, November, December.
I think we've been working on the Pacifica School District project for probably, we're probably entering our 4th year now. It has been painfully long. It's very difficult to build on the coast. There are so many requirements. The Coastal Commission and residents tend to want to keep it as is. So it's a big challenge. We've been going for a long time.
Oh, shit.
That wasn't me.
Turned it off.
One of the most interesting projects, if you're interested in teacher housing, is what's happening in the city of Daly City with the Jefferson School District. Their teacher housing project is already under construction. It's 100 and some units, but they had a whole school site that they vacated, and now they are proposing to build over 1,000 units on that site. So they already have 100 of teacher housing going up under construction. They have another phase that's going to be probably 130, maybe more units of affordable housing, like the Kiku project I just showed you, and 800 units of market rate housing. And the school district is going to be either a joint venture partner or lease the land to a developer or something. But essentially, the school district is going to make money off of their school site in a spectacular manner. And they're going to be able to use that money. It's going to go into their general fund, and they're going to raise teacher salaries as their goal, stabilize the district with income. It's just, their approach has been superb. You know, it's other districts sell the land, get a one-time infusion, and they hit the jackpot for a little while, spend the money, and it's gone. Daly City, Jefferson High School District took the long view. They're going to have a cash flow coming in every year to support their educational purposes, which I think is absolutely brilliant. I've had the pleasure of working with them. We didn't provide financing, but we are an advisory to them, and we're constantly, working with them. They're about to go out with a request for proposals to hire the developer for the affordable housing. So it's really exciting project.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much, especially for that last bit of information. That was very interesting. And we ordinarily have a certificate that we will present to you as a thank you, but because I'm the substitute, we don't. But we will get it to Pam, who can get it to you as a thank you. It is a photo of the Yurok playground project that we do with our Interact high school kids and the Yurok Nation, which is on the border of California and Oregon. And we have installed 4 playgrounds for them over the last 4 years, and we've got a 5th one in the wings that is soon, hopefully maybe this spring, we'll be able to install it now that COVID seems to be fading a little bit. So thank you very much.
Thank you
for a
very much as well.
informative presentation.
Sure.
Thank you. That's a long and the short of it. And making me shake, Pam. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. I want to thank Gary Epstein for being our greeter and Phyllis Harrison for leading us in the pledge and also taking minutes today. Remember, if you're interested in being a minute taker, let Curtis know. Thank you to Mike Hoffman for our thought for the day. Next week, our program is Chris Austria, and we've heard Chris speak before. He is a member of one of the Rotary clubs in Uganda, I think in Kampala, but I don't think Nasambaya. So it'll be really interesting to hear him speak next week. Looking forward to it. So on that note, for the good of the club, thank you, everybody. Have a good week. We'll see you next week. We are adjourned.